Hi there! Welcome back to Better Late with Mariela Segovia. We're back in English, baby. I know, I know. I've been giving some love to my Spanish speaking only family, and it's been really cute. It's been really cool. I love that. I love that. Here's the thing, I've always thought that my English is. When people speak different languages, it's kind of like they have different personalities in different languages. I think for a lot of people that's the case. They have, I don't know, like a different tone and a different way of expressing themselves, which is cute. And I've always been very much like, oh, I am exactly the same in English as I am in Spanish. And I have to say, I realized that that was not the case. I thought Mariela, by the way, I'm Mariela. I thought that I was going to be the exact same in Spanish as I am in English, but I realized that it's so okay for those two to exist because it's completely different contexts and completely different experiences. And my day to day is so much different that how it would be like if I was speaking in Spanish, which meant if I was home. So here's the thing. I realized there are so many different things that happen in Venezuela versus the US. Like the same things happen very differently. And I didn't realize until recently that a lot of people don't understand those crazy things that for me have been natural in both cases because one culture I was just born into, and the other one, well, I kind of seamlessly try to submerge myself into. So today we're going to talk about that. I'm going to give you a couple of things that I know you guys are going to be like, what? Depending on where you're seeing this from, depending on where you are from, you're going to understand. So I made a list of things. First thing, did you know that I grew up going to the beach in Venezuela, probably, I don't know, like 45 minutes, an hour away from where I was born, where my hometown, Valencia. And I remember very vividly sitting on the beach with my dad, with my family, and we would have this like a fisherman coming in with his big old cooler and being like, oysters, what's up? And we would get dozens and dozens of oysters. I'm talking to you, I was probably like 7 years old, eating like 2 dozens of oysters by myself, which it's crazy because I don't think I can stomach that right now. Bless her heart. But also, oysters are such a delicacy here in the States. Like, you pay so much money for half a dozen of oysters. And it's so crazy to me that in Venezuela, that was such a given thing. Like, you could just go and eat whatever you wanted, fresh off, just being caught. They would chuck them for you, and you would just like eat it with whatever little dressings they had. And that's insane. Because I started training to work at a new restaurant that is like raw food. It's very like bougie like that. It's so crazy to me. People are like paying so much money for just a few of these things that I would get for a lot cheaper and a lot fresher probably. And I don't know, it makes me think that's why probably people go to Venezuela or go to Latin American countries and they love it there because yes, obviously the dollar always helps with conversion, but also you get these experiences that for us are so normal. And here it's like kind of like for the privileged one, I would say. Kind of. Well, not the privileged one. Also, some people just hate oysters, and that's okay. Now, if you wanted to get into the whole like gratin, like putting cheese on top of an oyster and cooking that's not what we're doing here. That's not what we're doing in Venezuela. We're just putting some Tabasco. We're putting some lime. You guys have no idea how much I struggled. We're learning what lime versus lemon was when I moved to the States because my whole life, lemon, has been the green one. And then the yellow one, which I barely saw ever in Venezuela, it's lime. So that one's lima. And here, you guys call it So you guys say lime and you're referring to the green one, and yellow one is lemon, and they taste differently. It's rough. Yeah. So, anyways, we use the lime, we use the Tabasco. Some people put some extra like spicy sauces. Of course, there's the crazy people that put like some mayo-y dressing situation. But yeah, oysters, cheap as hell in Venezuela. Here, a delicacy. That's one. And speaking of restaurants and the fact that I'm training for a restaurant, that like the spectrum of working in the service hospitality industry as it is here, which is very common. It's very common for people in high school to have a job at a Baskin Robbins, or to work at Starbucks, or to work at a McDonald's, or to be a server while you're in college, or be a bartender while you're, paying for your MBA or stuff like that. Like, all those things are so normal here and are very, like, it's not a big deal. In Venezuela, there's this social distinction that I hate, that if you don't have to work in a restaurant, no one does it. And I'm talking about people that I met that were probably in college, that were like, on a scholarship, and they had a job and all these things. It was never an option to think of working at a restaurant. It's like frowned upon for some reason, which is very strange because it's really good money that you can make in the States, which I'll get into it because the tip processing is completely crazy. But here, it's like such an easy way to get money. It's a fast way to meet people. It's a steady job, and you're not doing anything wrong. You're literally just working to pay for your bills. And a lot of people, I'm a single woman and I just like support myself, but there's people that support their whole like family, and they send their kids to school and they pay for their college and everything just by working on restaurants for 10, 15 years. And it's sad that in Venezuela we don't have that like easy, like, yeah, of course, let me grab a couple of shifts at this place as a bartender and it'll be fine. It's like left for people that kind of don't have an option to work in anything else because they didn't get to study or anything like that. And I think that's such a waste, because the amount of money you could be making extra on the side or just as your full job. Like, I think if I would have worked at the radio and at the same time had a server job at a good restaurant in Caracas, oh my God, I would have been making bank. Because at the radio, I was not making that much money, and let me tell you that. It was more for the fun of it, for the love of it, and because obviously it's a platform and it's like a way to get people to know you and all of that. But we're missing out on something huge here. Now, here's the difference, though. In the States, a tip is basically a standard politeness, education thing that you must do no matter the experience you had. Right. So you go to a restaurant, you have a meal, someone's serving you, or the bartender is helping you out, and 20% is the standard of what you should pay. 20% of your whole like check is what you should pay, regardless of the server messing up your order or the bartender taking forever to catch you and take your drink order. Any of those things, they don't matter, because restaurants here take the big bulk from their budget okay, I'm not explaining this right at all. Jesus. Okay, how do I explain this? So restaurants pay minimum wage here, right? And then they expect that with the tips, you'll make the money you need to make. It's like a given that it's not their responsibility to pay you a livable wage. Some people make, I don't know, 60K a year, 80K a year just working at a restaurant that has like a tip program and that is working well. And obviously if they do a good job, they get better tips. In Venezuela, it's only based on how well you did. That's how I grew up learning. It was like, if the person was extra helpful, they gave you some amazing suggestions and you loved the things that they provided to you, and they brought the food on time and they gave you a little something extra and all those things, you'll give them a good tip. But it's not, you don't feel the responsibility to do so. You don't have the empathy to do so because you assume they're getting paid and everything else is just extra. Here it's like, no, you have to understand that these people are making a living off of the $10 you're living on their $100 bill or their $20 that you're living. So it's been a change. I think my family doesn't get it. I think I still, when I tell them that I work at restaurants, because it's the most common thing in LA specifically to have a restaurant job and be pursuing a career in arts. I always work with musicians. I always work with actors. I work with writers, directors, dancers. It's the most common thing. And it's a cute little community. You know what I mean? Like, no one's frowning upon the other one because, oh my God, you have. No, absolutely not. And I've made my best friends that I've made in the States. I literally made them after serving them on a table because you're very humanized. Here, I feel like there's that thing that you're very humanized when you're working in a service position versus in Venezuela, I feel like that was not the case. There's this very established like line that divides the person that's coming to enjoy their meal and the person that's making them enjoy their meal. And that's shitty because that's just classist and honestly very related to slavism, I would say even. I mean, it is. In Venezuela, everyone has a maid. Everyone in Venezuela has someone that comes in once, twice, 3 times a week to clean their houses, and or live in their house and go out on the weekends. And some people let them go out like every 2 weeks. I know, it's wild. It's wild. And I know that most people that are going to be watching this episode are American, and you're going to be like, what the fuck? It is. It's like modern slavism, and it's not pretty. And I feel, as I'm saying this, I feel a little ashamed that that's what I grew up with. I mean, I had amazing nannies. I had amazing people that helped get my house in order. I was raised by a single dad, and I was very messy. And having someone there to help out with that was crucial, honestly. And to this day, I keep in touch with them, and I love them. It's a very interesting dynamic, but I want to hear your thoughts on this. I want to hear what you think about all of this. And from both sides. I want to hear the Venezuelan side and the American side. Because I know here some people also have maids and also have this like live-in condition. But I don't know. I feel like it's a little more humane the way that it's done here. Or you're a little bit more aware. Yeah. Food for thought. What else? Oh my God. So in Venezuela, we don't pay for avocados and we rarely pay for mangoes. I know. Here, an avocado at Trader Joe's, a Hass avocado organic, is like $2. $2, one avocado this size. That looks like an underdeveloped baby from a real avocado from Venezuela. Avocados from Venezuela are this size, my hand. Sometimes even bigger. And they are amazing. And usually you know someone that has a tree, or you live in a place where, oh yeah, just down the street, so-and-so's tree, it's that time of year. Yeah, you go and you get your avocados for free, and they're huge and they're amazing. And that's one of the struggles of living in America after being raised in Latin America, just surrounded by these tropical delicacies. Avocados, mangoes, mamones. I don't even know if you guys have mamones here. Mamones are insane. They're so good. They're like very tiny limes because they're green. But then you cut them and they're this like little ball. It's like a little seed that is surrounded by some yumminess that it's very tart and delicious. And I'm sure it's very low cost. So I don't know what you guys are into the mamones, because that could be a very fit snackety snack. Exactly. Because, we're always watching what we're doing and all that. What else? Oh my God. Why are there fans in the restrooms of every house in this country? Why is there two switches? One that's the light and one that's like a demogorgon about to pop out of the ceiling. Exactly why, I do not understand. I've always felt scared about it. It's like now everyone knows you're going to the restroom. Like if you wanted to go into the restroom really quickly without anyone knowing, there's not going to be a chance for that because the AC or ventilator or fan situation or extractor of the smells is going to be so freaking loud. So loud. Why? Please explain that to me. We didn't have that back home. I get it. You kind of want things to air out after you're done your business, especially if you're gone on like a heavy business transaction. But I just find them so interesting. Actually, when I moved to Miami, I did stand up once and I had a joke that I was like, I don't know if my roommates know that I go to the restroom so much because in reality, I'm just like turning on my vibrator and I don't want them to hear the buzz. So they probably think I'm like pooping all the time. It's not that funny if I tell it like this. Whatever, you guys weren't there. People laughed, I promise. What else? Wow. This one's intense. So, doctors. When I tell you I go to my endocrinologist like 3 times a year, and every time I go, I leave that office crying. I'm not exaggerating. Doctors in the US, for some reason, are so freaking cold and unpersonable. And I guess if you're watching this and you've lived in the States your whole life, you're like, yeah, that's what's up. That's what doctors are. You have no idea. In Venezuela, a doctor will literally be in a consultation, in an appointment, and you feel like these people are your best friends to the point where you're going to give them like a box of cookies, or you're going to bring them a little chocolate, or you're going to invite them to something of yours because they're just so personable and they're so like, they make you feel like you're well taken care of, that you're not just a blood bag, that there's feelings in there and there's thoughts and insecurities and fears and all these things that, like, I said fears twice. Yeah, exactly. Fear. Exactly. It is frightful. And it's been really hard for me. My dad is a doctor, so I know how he treats his patients, and I know, and I've seen him interact with a lot of them, and I've been around doctors a lot growing up. So I know all these people, how they go about their doing their job. They're just, in that case, I guess we are more humane than here, because they really just treat you like you're an experiment. You're just a blood bag with a soul in there that we're going to cut, close, take out, put in, whatever. And that is something that has been rough for me to adapt here, because I have hormonal issues. I have hypothyroidism, and I've had to go to doctors for a while. And when I moved here, it was me by myself doing it, because when I was home, my dad kind of like was a medical director of my life, and he would like make me go to these appointments and like make sure I had everything right and like all the medical records and all the things. And here it was all by myself, and I literally had my first appointment with my endocrinologist, and I called my dad and cried. I was like, she said this and this and this. I don't understand any of this. I told her I was afraid of this or that. And she was basically like, yeah, well, that's it. Okay. Like, it's just like, why? I don't want to give you my money. I don't want to give you my body to like heal or get better or improve or whatever it is if you don't care about the human that's in there too. That's really strange. Tell me if you have a different experience, because for me, doctors in the States are weird, and Venezuelans rock at medicine. Like, they really rock. I know people in Miami that only go to doctors in Miami that are Venezuelan. Americans, you need to step up on that. I know the healthcare system here is pretty crazy and pricey and wild, and I guess with everything that's happening right now with the government, I'm sure it's going to get a lot crazier. But Now I understand why so many people go to Latin America. Also, it's cheap. We know this. But like, go there and people will treat you right. They're actually gonna love you because you're like gringo, and they're gonna be like, "Oh my god, this is so adorable." You'll be like a novelty there. So go get done stuff. Go get stuff done in Venezuela. All right, what else do we got? Oh my god, directions, dude. Directions. Okay, so if you need to go, there's a party, right? And you're going to a party and they send you the address here. You put that on Google Maps, you put that on Waze, you put that on Apple Maps, whatever it is that you use, and it'll take you to that place. It'll tell you how long it's going to take. You'll see the whole map, and it's going to be a seamless experience. In Venezuela, it's more like, bueno, va a ser en la Casa Rosada. La Casa Rosada es la que queda después de la cuadra donde está el kiosquito. Más allá de la panadería. No la de Joao, la de Pedro. Ajá, entonces tú subes. Ya cuando tú veas ahí que hay una señora en la esquina, ella siempre está ahí, está vendiendo loto, estaba con llamadas CanTV. Bueno, tú cruzas a la izquierda, luego a la derecha, y a la izquierda el portón rojo. Atrás está la Casa Rosada. Meaning there's no actual address, street name? Who? Street number? No. The house has a name, most likely. Gertrudis, mis amigos, mi refugio, la casa de Nona, all these names. I lived in a house that was named Lula because my mom, she had that like nickname, Lula. So Lula, and it's like all these names, and that's how I don't know if what happens if you put one of these house names in a G in a G map, in a Waze or something like that. I'm curious to know. I want to hear the comments, because I mean, I know people use these maps home, but how do you know? I mean, I barely knew the address of my house, of the building that I lived in. Barely knew it. And I don't think anyone got it. I always had to be like, no, it's not that street. It's the other one. Where you're almost going to get to the mountain. Right about, think you're going to crash into the mountain. Well, right then, you make, I have a problem with left and right, guys. It's an issue. I've been thinking about getting a tattoo. Right, left, because I just don't know. In the moment, as it is right now, I just don't know which one it is. And I always think I'm going to mess up. And it's stupid. And I've messed up. And I've made people waste their time. And then you make a right. And then you make a right. And then, yeah, the third building where there's some palms. Yeah, it's all big. Yeah. There's usually a pickup park there. That's where I live. How do you make Siri or Alexa or any of these ladies, Alexa, don't activate, understand if you don't even understand where you're going? That's interesting to me, but very normalized. That's how I know that you can drop me anywhere and I'll find my way. Just asking about colors of houses and if there's a bakery around. All right, those are some of the things that I came up with. I'm sure you probably have a lot more, and I cannot wait to hear them. I know that a lot of Venezuelans follow me and listen to me, and I know a lot of you also speak English, so you enjoy these episodes. And I know that a lot of Americans see this, and you guys are probably going to be like, what is happening? How is, like, all these things? Yeah. I don't know that I have any more to share today with you guys, but I think it was a fun episode to do, to give you a better perspective of what it is in different cultures. It's pretty crazy. Oh, and don't even get me into the dating of it all. Dude. When you're dating someone in Venezuela, or at least when I dated in Venezuela, you know the guy is into you because he's basically possessed you now. Like, he's basically like calling you every day, texting you every day, making plans all the time, obviously. And you're like, I don't know, 2 weeks away from like meeting their entire family. Where here it's like, yeah, we go on one date, and then maybe in 2 weeks we'll go on a second date, and that will be like a normal, healthy pace. And then maybe I won't know anything from you again. And if you don't have good boundaries, you'll probably let them back into your life. But yeah, that's also been an adjustment. Not me moving to the States and starting to date Americans and assuming, because we went on 2 great dates and we made out. Oh my God, we're so together. Ay, Mariela de 2018. 2018 Mariela was so fresh, so young, yet so impressionable and kind of stupid. Yeah. All right. This is the episode today. Guys, you know where to follow me. I know you're seeing the clips. So if you're seeing the clip and you're enjoying it, imagine how much you're going to enjoy the whole episode. I know it's crazy. You can look me up on TikTok, Better Late Mariela. I'm on Instagram at Mariela Segovia, at Better Late Mariela. And then you can find me on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever you get your podcast, I'll be there. I'm your girl. And this episode is coming out on a Sunday, so you know next week we got Español Mami. Español es miércoles. English Sundays. And if you want me to do a Spanglish one, I don't know if you want me to do a Spanglish one. Let me know. All right. Toodles!